Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the what's next on Eimantas Stannionis, the undefeated WBA regular world champion at 147 pounds. Before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So Stannionis returned on May 4th on the Canelo Munguia undercard when he took on undefeated veteran Gabriel Maestre and outworked him and convincingly beat him by a 12-round unanimous decision to retain his regular world title at welterweight. He had been out of action for over 2 years since capturing the title when he defeated Radzab Butayev. So after many fall throughs and supposed fights and his showdown with Virgil Ortiz fell through, Stannionis was able to return and secured a nice win to retain his title. Now the big question now is, what's next for Stannionis? Well, first he's got to wait around to see exactly what's going to happen with Terrence Bud Crawford. Crawford is the super champion at welterweight, but he is moving up to super welter 154 in his next fight to take on Israel Madrimov. And if Crawford is victorious in that fight, which most people feel he will be, myself included, it's very likely, in my opinion, that that Crawford's going to give up the super title and Stannionis will be upgraded to the lone welterweight champ at 147, and then doors open up. So let's run through the top 10 and see what possibly could be next for Eimantas Stannionis. First, we're going to look at Bud Crawford. Another one. If Terrence Crawford wanted to fight Stannionis, he would have done it already. Crawford, I don't think has any desire to stay at 147. The bigger fights are at 154. I think he's going to go up, take that fight there, and make sure he's victorious first, and then come back down to 147. If he's not, if he somewhat comes up unsuccessful, maybe he stays at 147 after that. So I think that's what's going to go on with Crawford. I think he's just waiting around, but I do believe, I do not believe he is going to consider Stannionis as a potential opponent, just not a big enough name. Then you got Errol Spence Jr., another fight that if there was interest there by Errol Spence, it would have happened. Spence seems content on moving to 154 himself and starting over his career following that brutal and dominating TKO loss to Bud Crawford last year. Then there's Boots Ennis. This one would have been very likely if Boots would have stayed lined up with the PBC. He's now signed with DAZN and Matchroom. He's got his first fight coming in July against Cody Crowley. I don't think even a unification bout is going to happen for Boots against Stannionis next. I think the PBC will try to set up a unification with Mario Barrios before they do one with Boots Ennis, just because of, they would rather have their own guys fight each other and build their names up before they reach out and work with another promotion for a fight like this. So I'm not seeing Boots and Stannionis being possible. Then you got Keith Thurman, and of course, whatever Keith Thurman wants to do, he probably can do and fight whoever he wants. But Thurman was going to fight Tim Tszyu in his last fight, and that was going to take place at 154, and Thurman got hurt. So if Thurman does indeed continue, all the big names are going to 154 now. I really believe he's more likely going to fight at 154. That's just my opinion. So I don't think Keith Thurman and Stanionis is going to happen. Then you got Mario Barrios, the WBC interim champion. I really believe that Stannionis and Barrios is a highly likely fight if Crawford gives up the two titles, because then it becomes a unification bout within the PBC, and I think right there that Al Heyman and the PBC would love to make that fight. Now, again, I said in the Mario Barrios What's Next video that I think Barrios and Ryan Garcia could be locking horns. So that is a possibility that could ruin this fight, but we'll discuss that a little bit more later. You also have Giovanni Santillan, the undefeated welterweight contender. I don't think this one happens next. I do believe possibility down the line, but Santillan is with a different promotion, and he's also in line to fight for a potential vacant WBO title if Crawford gives up all the belts after his fight in August. Then we have Cody Crowley. He is a PBC guy, and if Cody Crowley pulls off the big upset in July and beats Boots Ennis, I do think there's a possibility of Crowley and Stanionis, but I also believe the PBC would move Barrios in line to fight Crowley first before Stanionis. But at the end of the day, it's kind of a moot point because I do not think that that Crowley is going to beat Boots Ennis, so I don't see this one. But if Crowley does give a good effort in his fight with Boots, and Stanionis does not get a unification bout with Barrios, then I do believe that the possibility's there because they're both within the PBC. Then there's Yordenis Ugas, the former WBA welterweight champ and Manny Pacquiao beater. I don't see this one. He's suffered a couple bad losses to Errol Spence a couple years ago, and then got dominated against Mario Barrios in his last fight. I don't know if Ugas is going to come back, but I definitely don't think he moves to the front of the line to fight Stanionis for the title. And then there's Abel Ramos. I absolutely think this one is a possibility because Ramos is a tough contender. He's fought for the title before. He fought Cody Crowley very tough last year, and I think if Stanionis is waiting around for a big fight, I do think the possibility is there to fight a guy like Ramos, but I think he's going to get a bigger fight prior to that. And then you got Shakran Giyasov. This one is definitely possible because he's the WBA's #1 ranked contender right now. So if Stanionis gets upgraded to full champ, the WBA could order Stanionis to defend his title against Giyasov. Soleimani Shishersko, I think he's waiting around for his shot at the WBC title because he's a top contender over there, so I don't see that one. Josh Taylor, that would be a good matchup right there. Both guys would have to want the fight. They're working with different promotions. If Taylor beats Catterall, it's kind of up in the air if he wants to move up to 147 and take a fight like this. I'm not too sure. We'll see. I'm leaning towards the less likely on this one. Radzab Butayev in a rematch. Butayev is up at 154 now. He is highly rated in the WBA, but I don't think Butayev and Stanionis come together for a rematch. I just don't think there's a big drive for that. Even though the first fight was pretty good, I don't think there's a big want or need out of the public for that. So I'm leaning towards the less likely. David Avanesian, former world title challenger. I don't see it. I mean, I'm sure it's a fight that could be made, but I don't see it. I don't think Stanionis would want that. And then Connor Benn. Stanionis would probably entertain this bout, but Matchroom would have to work with the PBC, and right now, I just don't see that working out. So the most likely, in my opinion, for Stanionis is a showdown and unification bout with Mario Barrios. I really think that's possible and could happen. If that does not happen, he may have to make a mandatory against Shakram Giyasov, who's his #1 ranked contender. And if not that, I do think there's possibilities of like Abel Ramos and Cody Crowley. Excuse me. But I do think Stanionis is going to get a decent bout, and I do think there's a high possibility at a unification bout with Mario Barrios. But we'll wait to see what goes down. But that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on undefeated WBA regular welterweight champion of the world at 147, Eimantas Stannionis, following his first successful title defense after a 2-year layoff where he defeated Jesus Christ. Why am I drawing a blank? where he defeated Gabriel Maestre to retain his title. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.